Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Now Experts Time channel. We are watching a transformation program series. In earlier videos, I just explained what is change management, what is enterprise change management or automated change management. What is a difficulty we are facing in the change management? Why we need automated or enterprise change management? And what is a functional architecture? And what are all the tools I'm going to take in this session? So these are all the content I covered in earlier videos. So before coming to this video, please watch those videos and get a clarity. And if you're moving here, then you will get that connectivity. So today we are going to discuss that Azure DevOps side, how it is supporting for enterprise change management or automated change management area. So in the part 2 series, I just explained what is a functional architecture. So if you understood that functional architecture and you are watching this video, then it will help to connect your dots. So in the last video, that functional architecture, I just explained the first point as a project. Because when you are performing this DevOps activity, are you going to perform this activity for an organization or your projects? So here I have taken an item as a project. The project name is Corp Site M. So if you go in this pipeline first, I want to show first item. So this pipeline is executed in Corp Site project. So when it is executing into the Corp Site project, you can see 4 items. It's in a green color. That means build and test, QAT, change acceleration, and production deployment. So if I open this is what you have seen in the functional architecture diagram. So here the build and test, it is one of the functionality, it is one of the operation. QAT, it's one of the operation. Change acceleration is one of the operation. Production deployment is another operation. There are 4 operations are defined in your YAML file. So if you understood these 4 phases, then go to repo. In this repo, there is a YAML file we created. In this YAML file, it having a operation information. We talk about build and test. We talk about stage called QAT. We talk about stage called change acceleration. We talk about stage called product deployment. So the 4 stages are defined in this YAML file. So that's the reason you are seeing the representation like this way: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you don't have that YAML file, you cannot see these stages because these stages are defined in your YAML file itself. So YAML file, it having a definition what it should perform, when it should perform, where it should perform. So those definitions defined in that YAML file. Again, I'm going to the YAML file. I go and explain one by one. Maybe you will get some clarity. So to define a YAML file, we need one person from Azure team. Azure person should have a appropriate privilege. That Azure person can define this configuration. So if you see here, there is a build and test stage is there, and there is a task. This is a configuration area. What tool I'm going to connect with, and what is a project. So those informations are defined in this build and test. And similarly, once it is done, then second stage is a QAT. This QAT where I should perform. So I should perform into the Sonar Cloud tool. So if you go little down, the Sonar Cloud instance URL and the credential projects key, everything it is defined in this QAT environment. And the third one is, that is an important one, change acceleration. So first two, there is no relationship with ServiceNow. Build and test, it is going to perform. Second is UAT, it is going to perform with the help of your Sonar Cloud instance. Once this activity it is success, the result is greater than 85% or 90% or 100%, then it is going to change acceleration stage. This change acceleration stage, it is helping to create a change ticket in your ServiceNow. So if you see the change acceleration functionality, it will show the information about what ServiceNow instance I'm going to connect. Next, what is a change ticket username requested for or requested by, how it shows the name. So if you see this payload requested by, it shows a DevOps integration user. And next thing is, that means this information will display in your change ticket. So change ticket, it having a field called requested by. This requested by, it will show DevOps integration user. So in your change ticket, if you want to identify this ticket, it is part of CI/CD, then you take this requested by as identifier, and you can easily identify this ticket is part of our CI/CD tool. Next, this change ticket, it having a short description, implementation plan, backout plan, test plan, etc. So these things you can define in this Azure DevOps itself. So what are the fields you want to display it here? Display in ServiceNow side, you define that field and map the value directly in this Azure DevOps. So this is a very important part, because this stage is supporting to create a change ticket in your ServiceNow environment. When it is creating a change ticket, the change ticket, what are all the value it should have, what is a short description, what is a description, implementation plan, backout plan, test plan, requested by, those are all the things you can define it in the Azure DevOps itself. So when this stage is executing, these values are passed to ServiceNow and it will create a change ticket. So once the change ticket is created in ServiceNow with the help of Azure DevOps pipeline, then it will go for an approval and further things. When we are talking about this approval part, that approval configurations it can be handled in ServiceNow with the help of change policies. So once the change is approved from ServiceNow side, then there is a message, it will be triggered in CI/CD pipeline with the help of that DevOps handshake with your Azure DevOps and ServiceNow. The message will be passed. The next stage will be executed in your Azure DevOps. That's called production deployment. So this production deployment, where it should happen, that definition is also defined here. You can see these are all the things. It's like a code. It is not a code, actually it's a configuration. This configuration, currently I don't have admin rights, so I'm unable to do it. But as a Azure DevOps admin, they can do these type of configuration. When they have completed this configuration, automatically this YAML file will be generated. So your major portion is stage called change acceleration. This change acceleration will support you to create an auto change ticket. So if you understood well this YAML file, if you go to pipeline, I take this is a corp site, it's on a project. This project, it's having that YAML file, that is demo test YAML file. That YAML file, it having a 4 stages. The 4 stages are executed successfully. If I open here, I can show you one by one. So you see this build and test, it is executed. So it represents a green color mark. For any reason, if it is not executed, then instead of green color mark, it will show a red color cross mark. Then you can easily understand this is not executed properly, or it is cancelled. Yes. So see here, ServiceNow DevOps. So here there is a handshake is happening with your ServiceNow system. Next, QAT. So QAT side, it's connect with your Sonar Cloud, and based on the Sonar Cloud verification, it will show the result as 100% test passed. So once this is executed, then this change acceleration, you can see build and test, QAT, change acceleration, production deployment, and finally it's building. So build and test, there is no major dependency. It will connect your system and build that functionality. If you want to understand, just click it and see it. There is a connection it happening with your ServiceNow instance, and your planning and artifacts, everything will happen in ServiceNow side. You can see it. This is a URL it followed. What is the instance, everything it will be handled here with the help of this URL. Next, QAT will happen automatically. This QAT testing will be done. One minute. So finalize the job. So 1 minute, something it is not loading properly. What happened? But it is executed successfully. It shows a green color. But when you are coming to this change acceleration area, sorry, I mean left side. So sorry, if you go to this tests, it will show the 100% test executed, and what are all the operations are performed, everything it will be highlighted in this area, like resolving deltas, how many percentage it is running, like a phase by phase it will show the result. That means your Sonar Cloud system, how it is calculating that results, you can see that phase by phase here. So once it is done, then the message will pass it to our ServiceNow. How it will pass in this stage, that is a change acceleration stage, it will create that entry. So if you see here, this stage, it is helping to create a change ticket in ServiceNow. I have explained earlier. So if you see specifically here, this is an instance, it is talking to create a change ticket from ServiceNow side. And second, these are all the payload it is transferred from ServiceNow. That means this payload we already defined as a static manner. So when the change ticket is creating, so that time the change ticket requested by name is DevOps integration user, and the change ticket it having a request short description as this, implementation plan, backup plan, test plan. So these all detail where it is getting us with the help of your YAML file. So once it is executed, it will show the response code as OK and change control true. Success is our status now. So finally the change ticket will be created and the change ticket number is this. So I hope you got little clarity here. Your project side or your organization side, first we are creating a phase 1. Once the project is created, then you are defining a pipeline, repo file YAML. Here this YAML file it having a definition of your stage wise functionality. So what it should do in the each stage, the definition you are defining here. So once the definition is defined here, if you need to test it. So the testing happening via pipeline. When this pipeline is executed, then it will show the result stage wise. So you just open this stage and you can try to understand how it is running. For any reason, if any one stage is not executed, for example QAT is cross mark, that remaining stage will not be executed because it is a sequential one. So here change acceleration is playing a vital role. Change acceleration, it's enabling the connectivity with your ServiceNow system. It's supporting to create a change ticket in ServiceNow environment. Specifically, you talk this QAT. This QAT, it's connect with your Sonar Cloud. So this Sonar Cloud information test results, you can see it here. So there are 40 results total test we have defined in our Sonar Cloud. Those 40 are executed successfully and 100% pass result. So testing, if you have a tool, then you can use it. Here I used Sonar Cube. If you have some other testing tool, then you connect with the testing tool with your Azure DevOps and do the testing automatically. So once it is done, then it is going to this change acceleration and change ticket will be created. Approval will be done if you defined. If you're not defined, auto approval will happen. This approval and auto approval rejection, everything you can define in your ServiceNow side with the help of change policies. And finally, it is moving to the production deployment. So if you open this change acceleration, it will show that information. What is that? That's what I have showcased you. So what is a payload it is transferring from CI/CD to your ServiceNow. And final deployment is going to deploy your code in the production environment. But the code deployment, it is not part of our ServiceNow codes. It is part of our external items. So don't think coding means ServiceNow coding we are deploying with this Azure DevOps. That is also possible, but in this session we are not talking about that ServiceNow code deployment. It is a other application code deployment. So I hope you guys got little clarity how Azure DevOps side it is running, how it is supporting for automatically change ticket creation. So here you can understand this change ticket, it is not going for a cab meeting. This change ticket, it is not taking 2 to 3 weeks to get an approval for the relevant team. It's very simple item. Immediate change ticket will be created, automated change ticket will be created, and supporting to deploy our change in the infrastructure less than 5 minutes. So that is a motto. This is a way it is working in the Azure DevOps side. To understand that ServiceNow side, how it is behaving, you can check in the next video. It will give you that clarity as well. I hope you enjoyed the session. Stay tuned with Now Experts Time channel with interesting information and interesting videos and use cases. Thank you, good day, and good boy.